talk about Deebo. Give me your prediction on how this whole drama will end.
I mean, I see he was playing catch with Coach Shanahan's son. I feel like once he got in the building, you know, when you separate from people, that's where things could go. You know, that's where assumptions or whatever you could be in your head about situations. But once he gets back in the building, I don't know, him playing just catch with Shanahan's son, it just feels like, all right, like this is gonna get worked out. I don't know how or when, but I just feel like he needed to get back in the building, in the building, and Shanahan work his little player relations magic, and I think it'll get handled. Hopefully before training camp. I think that's when Fred and George Kittle's right. That was like during the beginning of training camp, or right before.
Yeah.
So that's what I say. Right before training camp.
So Deebo, you know, same agent as AJ Brown. AJ Brown gets traded during the draft to the Eagles, gets that contract. I don't know if Deebo would have been happy with that contract. That's something I'm very interested about. Like from Deebo's vantage point, I would love to hear a report about, like, is that a contract? Is that what Deebo's essentially looking to get? I think he's looking to get more. But that happens. That situation happens, comes and goes, and you know, there's not a lot of movement. It seems like at this point, Deebo's in a situation where my doomsday scenario is that we end up coming to an agreement with him. We end up giving him a contract extension, but it's not something that he wants. It wasn't something that he originally wanted. Like, it's not really in the ballpark of what he was thinking he was going to get after having one of the best seasons in the NFL last year, right? And I think from the team's perspective, they may be saying, okay, we have Trey now. We have deep threats that we're trying to implement. We're going to be doing more diverse things on offense. It's not going to be so much reliant on just you. And it doesn't mean you're not the same player, but we're not going to be using you in the same way. That's why we drafted this running back. That's why we drafted this deep threat. We want to spread the ball around and do those sort of things. We can't pay you this amount of money. You know, basically the team being hard in negotiations. If they come down on the price, my doomsday scenario is that Deebo signs that deal. And is he going to want to ever get in the backfield if we have a play drawn up where, you know, we need to get him in the backfield, or when he needs to be more dynamic than just a receiver? We're hearing those reports, or we heard those reports of he doesn't want to, you know, do those things that he did last year, which I don't necessarily believe that, but that's my fear, that he's not the quote unquote same player if he gets a contract that he's not 100% happy with. And that's kind of like where I'm at with the Deebo situation. I'm afraid that we're going to get an extension done, but it's not going to be what he wants, and he's not going to have the same. He's not going to be the same player as last year.
Yeah, I think that's fair concern. I was thinking along the same lines until I heard Trent Williams talk yesterday. Trent Williams is sort of like the OG of the locker room. Like, he's like the big brother for everyone. He's the best player in the league, the best player in the team. He's 35 years old. He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of perspective. And he said he had a conversation with Deebo about this. He said he didn't reach out to Deebo, that Deebo reached out to him. And it just seems like he's trying to model how to handle this. Like, look, dude, the way you handle it this offseason is making people act like you're immature. You're not immature. Come to minicamp and show it. You know, like, do what I would do. Be like me. And I think as long as it seems like Trent Williams and Deebo are really, really tight. And I don't know Trent Williams that well because I haven't been in the locker room the last 2 years, but it seems like he's a good influence. Seems like he's got his head on straight. So I feel like as long as Trent Williams is around, he's gonna have Deebo at his best. He will, and maybe Kyle as well. But it seems like those two guys definitely get the best out of him. I know there's a concern about his weight, his motivation, but I think that was earlier in his career. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's got it all figured out and that he's a supreme competitor on the level of T.O., Jerry Rice, Steve Young, and that he's going to be consistently great in his career. I don't know how many more years he has. It seems like wide receivers are maybe kind of done at 30, at least at these days, but he should have 3-4 more years of being an MVP caliber player. So
yeah, that's an interesting point. And it's tough too, I think, from the Niners side of things, because it's damn near impossible for Deebo to have the year he had last year again. True. It's damn near impossible. Like, he had the best season, and I don't want to put limitations on him. He's a dog. Deebo is like, he's a fan favorite. He's a beast. Like, all the good things we can say about Deebo. I don't want to put a limitation like he just can't have that season again. But I mean, it was the circumstances for him to have that season, the situations that he balled out in. I have a lot of faith in Deebo, but especially if he's going to change his role and not, do some of the running, the dynamic aspects of his game in terms of being in the backfield and all those sort of things. Like, it's going to be tough for him to have a similar year. And if that's the case, then can't the Niners say, hey, let's just, play this thing out. Let's wait. Let's see kind of how things transpire with this Trey Lance offense and how we have things going this year and do a contract from there. Like, I feel like there's two sides to this. So I don't know that it's just going to be a harmonious ending. It could kind of, stretch out.
I don't know about the ending, but I just feel like, all right, two things. Like, how much money did Deebo make last year? What is he scheduled to make this year?
Well, like 3 million, 4 million, something like that.
Something like that. So if he makes $18 million or whatever, let's say he 19, not around there. It's not 22, but I don't know. I just feel like eventually I don't know if you're just gonna be so pissed off about that once that money start rolling in.
And what Deebo could do is if he wanted to bet on himself, he could take a 2-year deal and hit the market again.
Exactly. And I just feel like it benefits Deebo to play to like, it's like, okay, if you want to be mad about this money and your play declines, then what? You're gonna miss out on money in the future.
Right.
So I don't really, so it's like, all right, whatever the deal is, you're gonna get a lot more money than you were making this past year.
The question is though, who has more leverage? Like really, that's like, I feel like the question,
the Niners
who has
have
more
the
leverage?
most leverage.
Deebo lost his leverage when the draft came and went and no one traded for him. That's when he lost his leverage. And from all reports, there was not a long line of teams waiting for him. I think a lot of teams were looking at the situation being like, what is Deebo's deal with the Niners?
I mean, if that Jets offer was real, that was disrespectful.
Exactly. But again, I mean, Deebo has to look in the mirror and be like, well, why? What's the deal? What perception have I created? Oh, people think I'm immature. Well, I got to change that because it's probably wrong. He's probably, I mean, that level of a competitor, he's probably quite mature, but he needs to make sure people know that. Like Trent Williams, everyone knows that about Trent Williams. I'm just saying. And really, like Deebo just created this perception with cryptic stuff on social media. It's real easy to change that perception. How do you do it? Show up to minicamp. Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. End of story.
Yeah, nobody's tripping. No one's
tripping now.
Yeah.
No one's talking about it anymore. I think everyone thinks this is gonna before training camp. I agree. That's how it's gonna end. He's gonna get signed before training camp, and there's gonna be a picture of him with the pen on the feather.
Exactly. No, and even to go back to what I was saying in terms of what my fear was, like I do have a fear that like, okay, if we do sign him to a deal that he's not happy with, is he going to, kind of act out and, not really give us that full effort? But it's Deebo. He's a dog. I feel like it's more so the business side of things. I'm wondering if his agent's like, oh, if they call up some play for you in the backfield, don't do it type shit. Like, I don't know if that's going to be the case.
I just
that'll have to be in the contract. They'll have to work that out.
And I just feel like Deebo wants the ball. Like these players want the ball.
Yes,
like I don't know. I think
but
that
then you saw the
backs,
reports though.
Like, I know. I just feel like that's okay. You're away from the building. You're away. All these players are setting the market with all these crazy numbers and we're getting paid like this. And you see Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams. You're away from the building. But once you're in the building and once you're in the season, don't you want to be the star?
Let me give you guys a stat real quick. Let me give you guys a stat real quick. Career receiving touchdowns for Deebo, 10. Career rushing touchdowns for Deebo, 11. I think he's going to want those carries out about near the red zone. I think he's going to probably still want those. I think he probably won't want the short yardage stuff.
Right. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't like feeling beat up and whatever. But my point
he asked for the carry in Dallas. He was like, give me the ball.
Give me the ball. I want the ball. Like, it's like Michael Jordan. Like, I want the ball. You going to give me the ball on the post on the 3? I want the ball.
It could be a handoff. It could be a screen. But we're on the 22-yard line, and I'm going to score if you give me the ball. It doesn't matter. I mean, he's not going to pass up those touches. Those are going to make him millions and millions of dollars in the future. But, I mean, I think Deebo should be all right. But maybe you guys disagree.